Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over a big winter storm for portions of the Midwestern United States. Some areas could be picking up as much as 6 to 8 inches of snowfall. We also see some very cold conditions behind that system and some severe weather ahead of that system. This is going to be a very widespread system, and we're really going to have to figure out exactly where this is going to set up, because a couple miles west or a couple miles east can make a really big difference with the storm. We'll be timing it out with the GFS and European model. No official snowfall forecast in today's video, but I will be making one in tomorrow's video. At the end of that video, you'll see my personal snowfall forecast. Make sure you have your notifications turned on, and make sure you are subscribed so you never miss an upload. I do upload daily, so make sure you do that so that you never miss a video, because you definitely want to be informed on what the weather is going to be for your week. So here would be the current National Weather Service page. We have winter weather advisories for much of the western United States, so just generally scattered about through the western United States. That's in the purple. In the pink, that's where we see winter storm warnings in effect for parts of California, Colorado, and parts of, and actually much of Montana. We see some blizzard warnings in effect in that red for parts of northern and central Montana, with some winter storm watches in Montana and parts of Idaho. We also see some wind advisories scattered throughout parts of the southwestern United States, with some high wind watches in the kind of the gold color, and in the darker brown color, that's where we're looking at that the high wind watch in effect for those regions. We also see a red flag warning in effect for one county in western Oklahoma, with tropical storm watches and warnings for southern Florida, mainly because of Ada, which is going to be kind of going like this, where it's going to originate in the Caribbean, then head westward, and then it should move off to sea out far away from the East Coast. So hopefully the only areas that will be impacted will be southern Florida, and hopefully it can get out of there quickly and minimize the damage caused by that storm. But luckily, after it heads out of Florida, it should move out to sea and away from any other land masses. So here would be the GFS model, then we'll look at the European model, and then we'll look at some of the snowfall totals and also that severe weather risk for these storms. So here would be the GFS model, and we're going to go from Pacific time to Mountain time to Central time, depending on exactly where the storm is located by that point. So here would be by Sunday, right around 11, actually this would be right around 10 in the morning Pacific time. We're looking at much of that rain and snow mix for portions of the southwestern United States. Here in the southwestern United States, that's what we're really looking at. This is the storm that we're looking at. That low pressure is up in the northern plains, with snow on the western edge of that, and we have very strong southwesterly winds up through much of the plains. That's going to be increasing that fire danger, and it's also going to be increasing that risk for record high temperatures for those regions, where you could be seeing some high temperatures that are in November up into the 70s and even 80s into parts of the central and northern plains. So it is going to be definitely a very warm week, and especially a very warm start to the week. The later part of the week, after you get past Wednesday or so Tuesday into Wednesday, is when it's going to start to turn colder and snowier, and in some cases much stormier. So we're going to be going over that also in today's video. So here would be by around 2 p.m. and we're looking at that rain and snow mix for portions of the southern Rockies, and as you're getting to the southwestern United States. So here would be this would be right around 10 p.m. Pacific time, and we're looking at much of that rain and snow mix still for the Four Corners. Let's switch over to Mountain time, and this would be right around 5 in the morning Mountain time, and we're looking at much of that rain snow mix still hovered over the Four Corners as we head this forward into the daytime hours on Monday, and then as we get to right around midnight on Tuesday. This would be midnight on Tuesday, switching over to Central time, and we're looking at that rain snow mix for portions of Nebraska and Colorado, with that thunderstorm activity out ahead of the storm, and then we're seeing even another system move out into the west coast. So this is going to be definitely a very active pattern, and hopefully it should relieve some of those drought issues, because much of the interior and intermountain west is dealing with a very dry period. I believe Las Vegas, the last time they saw any rainfall was 200 days ago or so. So it was definitely a very dry stretch. So you guys definitely need at least some precipitation, because I know many of you guys in the western United States are dealing with some very dangerous drought conditions. So here would be by right around 6 in the morning on Tuesday, and we're looking at most of that rain snow mix for portions of Nebraska and Kansas, with that thunderstorm activity out ahead of there. And eventually we're going to get an organized line of storms to kind of set up somewhat like this. That's going to kind of march further to the east. That's what we call a squall line. So a line of thunderstorms that can be fairly potent. Luckily, the only real effects of a squall line are not really tornadoes, which I know can be very dangerous and deadly. Mainly, it's the heavy rain and definitely the wind-driven rain that can be the biggest issues with squall lines. Luckily, hail isn't too big of a deal with squall lines as well. So, luckily, the severe threats will be fairly minor, but we still have to keep an eye on that. And definitely, sometime on Wednesday, you could be dealing with a severe weather threat. So here to be by Tuesday, right around 12 p.m., so noontime Central Time, and we're looking at that line of thunderstorms moving through parts of Wisconsin, Illinois, and Missouri, with that rain and snow further to the south and west of, or actually to the north and west of there. And then as we continue this forward, here would be by probably Tuesday, right around 6 p.m. Central Time, we're looking at some of that rain, mainly further to the east. So basically, from the low pressure eastward, you're dealing with rainfall. From the low pressure westward, and to a certain extent, so from basically central Minnesota eastward until you hit the low pressure, you're dealing with some snowfall for those regions. So western Minnesota or eastern Minnesota, western Wisconsin, dealing with that heavy snowfall, and then it's really all getting out of here by midnight on Wednesday. So here would be the categorical forecast from the Storm Prediction Center. This only goes out 3 days, so we're looking at a marginal risk on today for portions of Arizona and New Mexico. Then we get for day 2, which would be Sunday going into early on Monday, so tomorrow going into Monday, and we're looking at that general thunderstorm risk for the Central Plains. And then we're looking at here, this would be your marginal risk for Monday going into early on Tuesday, and they don't have one for Tuesday going into Wednesday, but we can assume that one would set up somewhat like this, and they might even include a slight risk if the severe threat really does increase in some of these model runs. So here to be the European model, and what it's showing, we're dealing with a whole mess for portions of the western United States. Just a bunch of colors on the screen, and it's very hard to tell what's happening. And that's something that you really get, especially I notice it mostly in October and November and even December, as well as March and April, where when you have that warm air clashing with the cold air, it can really make a mess over the Rockies, where you see the highest elevations getting snowfall, lower elevations getting a mix, and it can definitely make for a tricky forecast. We see both of those systems on this frame of the model run kind of merge together, but they eventually do separate as you're getting into Sunday early in the afternoon. So this would be right around 10 in the morning Pacific time. We're seeing that bigger system move out to the north, the smaller system move out to the south, and then it's really starting to get to separate from both of those as we get to Sunday, right around I would say probably around 2 p.m. and we're looking at most of that rain and snow out to the north, that snow rain mix still out to the southwest with that other system, and again this one will move out into the northern plains. So let's continue this forward. So here would be by right around 10 p.m. Pacific time, and we're looking at most of that rain and snow still confined to the southwestern United States. And then as we continue this forward, getting into Tuesday morning, most of that thunderstorm activity is starting to set up with a line of fairly severe thunderstorms moving through parts of Minnesota and Iowa. You'll see another line go through there later on in the day, so you'll actually have kind of a dual threat. Also, something that I want to point out, Ada will be down here in parts of Florida by that point, and luckily again this one is going to stall out over parts of Florida, bring up to 8 inches of rain, and then it should head out, and luckily it won't hit any other land masses after that. So that's the good news with Ada. Of course, the bad news is the damaging winds and the rainfall. We see that snow and rain for portions of the southern and central Rockies, and let's play this forward even more. As we transition to Central Time here, we're looking at most of that rain and snow mix for portions of Nebraska and Colorado, and that rain and thunderstorm activity is ahead of there. This would be by Tuesday midnight, and then this would be at 6 a.m. Here would be 12 p.m. and we're looking at that thunderstorm activity with a line of thunderstorms moving down from Texas all the way northward into portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin. And if you want to know why why that's happening. It's actually because we have a big cold front that's kind of dragged kind of like this. We see that low pressure system which is up through here, and then we see a small occluded front which is kind of like this, and then we see that warm front hanging off there kind of like this. So this is your system setup. Because of that, we see those warm temperatures ahead of this. So for these areas, you're seeing those warmer temperatures all throughout these regions, and behind there we see all those cold temperatures behind here. So this would be kind of a decent representation of what's going on in the atmosphere, because it is a very complex setup. So I'll take that off the screen, and then here would be by Tuesday, still right around 6 p.m. Most of that rain snow area is moving through portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin, and most of that snowfall and rainfall is heading out of here as we get to Wednesday early in the morning. So here would be what the models are showing. Here's the European model, and what it's showing, you see all of that snowfall out in the western United States. For the plains, you're looking at some areas getting closer to 2 to 6 inches in the blues, and in the purples, you're getting 6 to 10 inches of snowfall. So you do see some isolated areas getting maybe up to a foot of snowfall. Here's the GFS model a little bit further to the south and east, and it's showing up to 6 to maybe even 8 or 9 inches in some general locations for portions of Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, and even parts of Wisconsin there. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.